Welcome to the Michigan Football Report. My name is James Yoder, the king of Michigan football media. Folks, it is July 1st, 2018, 2 months to the day to Michigan taking on Notre Dame in South Bend under the lights. I will be there in the house for that game. Any of you traveling to South Bend, make sure to hit me up on Twitter, follow me, hit me in the DMs. Want to address the big rumor out there, getting a lot of people talking about this on social media, DMs. I am not yet willing to make a statement regarding this, thing that's going on, but I wanted to kind of address it for some of you with questions, not sure what's going on. So Michigan posted there, Indeed.com is also on some other websites, posting for Jim Harbaugh's executive assistant. I threw my hat in the ring. Little did I know I may be the leading candidate for the job. So just want to address this. We're not going to talk about it today. We're not going to even give you any inkling where I'm leaning, whether to go take the job or not. But I did want to say we are scheduling a press conference. That's right, folks. I will hold a press conference to address all of the media out there that wants to know, will James Yoder be Jim Harbaugh's next executive assistant, taking over for JT Rogan? We see the campaign slogan. I put my name out there. Little did I know it would turn into the story it has become. So keep an eye out for a press conference announcement. We'll invite all the media. Could be hundreds of thousands of people that want to come to this press conference, hundreds or thousands that want to come to this press conference. We will let you know. Should be in the next 2 or 3 days. Wanted to address that before we got started. Now let's get into the team football rumors. Rumor number 1. I've been talking to some people this week. Seemingly, this is a big-time story that another quarterback has asked for a transfer from the University of Michigan, asked for his release from his school. Folks, 2 Harbaugh heads on this one. The man's name right there is Brandon Peters. I don't have enough information on this one to go any further than 2 rumors at this point, but I have heard from multiple sources that have nothing to do with each other, that don't know each other at all, that Brandon Peters asked for his release from the University of Michigan after spring practice. Now, we're going to talk about another rumor, what led up to that, prior to that, but he was upset about Shea Patterson coming to the team, upset about Shea Patterson transferring in, and then when he saw the writing on the wall with Joe Milton having, more talent than people expected, Milton should only be a senior in high school, but came in early. Dylan McCaffrey starting out in spring, higher than him on the depth chart. I think the writing was on the wall for Peters, but what I was told was, hey, he asked for his release. Michigan's asked him to give it a few weeks to think about, talk to his family, talk to his parents, talk to his high school coach. So this is certainly not imminent. He could change his mind, but this is a people are talking. Want to let you guys know, if you hear it out there, don't initially say, hey, that's fake news or that's true. Just know it's being talked about. Some reputable people have spoken to those close to Michigan football program, close to Peters, and we have enough, information to give it 2 Harbaugh heads purely in that rumor category. So this is a big time story to keep an eye out. We will continue on talking about this one throughout the summer and throughout the next few days. All right, rumor number 2, Juwann Bushell-Beatty coming to his 5th-year senior. You saw last week on the Michigan football offensive depth chart, I've got him as a backup. Many people have slated him to be the starter at left tackle. I've got a source that's been feeding me some information on Bushell-Beatty, also some other Michigan offensive linemen, confirmed it with someone else that, hey, Bushell-Beatty is not only struggling on the football field with the starter expectations and into the training regimen under Ben Herbert and the new strength and conditioning staff, he's also struggling in the classroom this spring and now into summer classes. So there was a little talk earlier in the week that I might have said, hey, Bushell maybe might not even be with the program, might consider 5th-yearing at another college if he's completely passed up on the depth chart. Keep an eye out for that one. I don't think that'll happen, but I have been told by multiple sources that Juwann Bushell-Beatty definitely struggling right now. We're giving it 2 Harbaugh heads. I don't know if it's just kind of people saying, oh, he's struggling, he's not liking how he's getting past in the depth chart, whatever it is, but keep an eye out for this rumor. If he is not a starter, if he goes back to second string like I've got him slated now, where I predict he will be by the end of the year, I was told this week he is listed as a starter coming out of spring, but they think James Hudson will be the starter by the beginning of the season. As you see there, Jalen Mayfield making a lot of noise at left tackle, making a lot of noise at right tackle as well. You might see Mayfield get into the starting lineup before the end of the year is himself. So Juwann Bushell-Beatty, keep an eye out for this storyline throughout the summer, what happens with him and his development. All right, rumor number 3, sticking with Brandon Peters. I wanted to go 3 or 4 Harbaugh heads to this one, folks, but I didn't really have a second or a third source on this one that gave me the true full story. So it's strictly in the rumor category. 2 Harbaugh heads. Brandon Peters acted immature in Paris. What Brandon Peters' knock has been since he's been at Michigan is that he hasn't been a leader. He hasn't commanded the huddle. He hasn't been a guy the other players looked up to and respected. That's why John O'Corn has been ahead of him on the depth chart for the past 2 seasons, when clearly Peters has much more talent. So what I was told is he acted out back in January when Shea Patterson came, December and January. got together during spring practice, but after they went to Paris, he acted in an immature way, not behavior that was, indicative that he is ready to be Michigan's starting quarterback in the future or a, contributing member of the team should Shea Patterson go down or not be as good as advertised this year. So I've got Peters tied with Joe Milton as third on the depth chart. If that happens, could he, like I said, rumor number one, potentially ask for a release from Michigan, go to another school? Could he stick out this season but not be a really contributor, graduate early, and then have 2 years of eligibility elsewhere? I think it could happen, folks. So Brandon Peters, I don't have enough to go on this one to give anything more than a 2 Harbaugh-head, but this is a story I'm seeing multiple places, a few websites, a few message boards. I'm big on these Facebook communities, so keep an eye on Brandon Peters. He is our top story on today's Michigan Football Report. Did he ask for a transfer? Did he ask, was he asking immature? Was he acting immature in Paris? We will talk about this one throughout the rest of the summer. All right, folks, want to give a shout out to our host, Game Time. Game Time is the only way to buy sports and concert tickets. Go ahead to chatsports.com/tickets or just look up Game Time in your iPhone or your Android app. Chatsports.com/tickets will drop you right into that app store. It is the best way to get last-minute, super cheap tickets. If you want to go to a baseball game right now, folks, 2 months till football season starts, Game Time is the way to go. $3, $4, $8 for some of the best seats in the house. You'll pay half what the guy next to you paid if you use Game Time. I want to tell you what the Harbaugh-head rumor-o-meter is, folks. 0 Harbaugh-heads, totally false, fake news. If it's 1 Harbaugh-head, small shred of truth with some credibility out there, but not much to kind of go on at this point. 2 Harbaugh-heads, true rumor. People are talking. 3 Harbaugh-heads means we've got a source that it's pretty likely. If we give it a 4 Harbaugh-heads, folks, that is an FACK fact. We have been 100% on our FACK facts in the history of the Michigan Football Report, so you know it is happening. Just like how I called Kareem Walker not being with the Michigan football program, that so many of you were calling me out as fake news. Obviously, FACK. All right, on to the next one, folks. Is there a Michigan basketball legend returning for a night game or potential night game to be Michigan's captain? 3 Harbaugh-heads. Now, we know Weber is going to come back to be a captain. They talked about it last week. Jim Harbaugh invited him to be a captain for a Michigan football game. He accepted. 3 Harbaugh-heads on this one that it's going to be the Penn State game, which is the first Saturday in November. Obviously, Weber, multiple-time national champion runner-up in 1992 and 1993 as Michigan's member of the Fab Five, the first pick in the 1993 NBA draft, a future NBA Hall of Famer. Michigan has had quite a lineup of honorary captains in the past 2 seasons. Obviously, Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, the GOAT and the GOAT in the NFL and in the NBA. Hank Aaron, some people may call him the GOAT in MLB. Adam Schefter, Michigan graduate, NFL ESPN insider. And, of course, Charles Woodson, maybe the best defensive player in the history of college football, among many others. They tried to get the Obamas last year in 2017. Didn't quite happen. So Weber's going to come back for our game this year for sure. Will it be the Penn State game? I'm giving it 3 Harbaugh-heads. It's trending in that direction, folks. I think by the next couple weeks, we'll be able to bump it to FACK on that one. All right. Do we have a flip about to happen? All right, so I thought this could happen a week ago. This guy visited last week. He was trending towards Michigan a couple weeks back. Virginia Tech quarterback commit. Mike, I want to get his name right. Sainristil. If I messed that up, Mike, I really appreciate it. Is he going to flip to Michigan, folks? I'm giving this one a 3 Harbaugh-heads. Some recruiting analysts who really followed his recruiting closely. I haven't yet followed this guy too closely yet because he's a Virginia Tech commit and not super highly rated, but was told he was a potential flip last weekend. Didn't happen, but look for it to happen in the next few weeks. I've given this a 3 Harbaugh-head. He hasn't decommitted yet. He hasn't told anybody secretly or quietly that he's definitely going to do it, but it is trending this direction. People who spoke to him while he was on campus in Michigan last weekend said it is almost a guarantee to happen. So keep an eye out for Mike Sainristil. Love that name. It's a tough one to say. Virginia Tech quarterback commit is a 3-star guy, not as highly related as some of you recruitniks like to see. 5'10", 175, a little undersized, been committed to Virginia Tech for a little less than 5 months. Back in February, just after signing day, he committed there to Virginia Tech. Now, Michigan is off to a really strong class. The past week has been a boon for the Michigan 2019 recruiting class. They were 15 a week and a half ago. They have rocketed all the way up, as you see on the screen, to number 5 in the country, only behind Clemson, LSU, Texas A&M, and of course Alabama. By the way, Texas A&M, Jimbo Fisher off to a hell of a start in his first 6 months on the job there down in College Station. All right, on to the next rumor, folks. Are we going to have another quarterback commit in 2019? Cade McNamara really showed out at the Elite 11, one of the top 5 or 6 quarterbacks in the country. Some have gone even as far to say as Alabama had him as their number 1 guy, sticking with Michigan, former Notre Dame commit. But is Michigan going to rest on their laurels? With Joe Milton and Shea Patterson being the two most talented quarterbacks on the roster from what I have been told, and we're going to talk about the playbook and how it's gearing towards those guys, Michigan may want to bring in another quarterback commit, maybe a little lower rated one, maybe someone with a little more athleticism than McNamara has, that if McNamara, lives up to expectations, that player could move to a tight end role or a defensive role, much like Zach Gentry did in the 2015 class. So I like this one a lot. I think it's going to happen. Michigan going to get a second quarterback recruit in 2019. There's several offers out there to uncommitted quarterbacks, and they're still recruiting guys who have committed elsewhere. 3 Harbaugh heads on this one. I think it's pretty likely, it's trending in that direction, that it will go down, that Michigan will take a second quarterback recruit in the 2019 class. Cade McNamara is good enough, but I think what that speaks to is there may not, Shea Patterson might only be there for 1 year, Brandon Peters may leave, who knows what will happen, but keep an eye out for this one, a second quarterback recruit in 2019. Want to hear from you guys. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook Live, hit me in the comments right now. Is Jim Harbaugh a better or worse recruiter than you thought? This is 3 full seasons in, going into his 4th season. It's kind of his 4th recruiting class, 5th if you consider that 2015 class that he had a month to recruit after taking over the job from Brady Hoke. Want to know from you guys? Put it in the comments, Facebook Live, YouTube, and I'll get in there after the show and tell you what I think as well. So go ahead and comment. All right, on to rumor number 7, folks. Has Michigan a co-leader for a 5-star running back? Quavaris Crouch was on campus last weekend. Some had said Clemson had been his leader prior to that. I am now saying Michigan is co-leading. I'm giving 3 Harbaugh heads, almost a fact, but can't say for sure because I haven't talked to him directly, that Michigan and Tennessee are co-leading for this prospect. 5-star guy, all-purpose back. Some say he might play defense in college, and that's why Michigan has jumped into co-leading with Tennessee. They're giving him a chance to play defense if he comes there, maybe a linebacker, maybe drops back to safety, but he is a dynamic runner with the ball in his hands. Michigan already has 1 running back commitment, may get a second one this weekend, so that will kind of play out, and Crouch will have to decide from there. But this is a big development. Michigan co-leading for 5-star, maybe number 1 athlete in the country, Quavaris Crouch, and that is a big-time development from, a lot of people thinking Michigan had no chance just a few weeks ago. All right, want to talk about rumor number 8. I want to talk about rumor number 8. Before we talk about rumor number 8, I want to remind you that the Michigan Football Report is brought to you by the Game Time app, the number 1 app for all of your ticket needs, sports, concert tickets, up to 60% off. Download it for iPhone, Android. You can walk up to the gate, press a button, buy a ticket, and scan it in seconds. It is the way to go for all of your ticketing needs the rest of 2018 and beyond. All right, on to rumor number 8. Is Michigan leading for a 5-star 2020 offensive lineman? I'm giving this one the 3 Harbaugh heads, ladies and gentlemen. It is Chris Hinton. It is the brother of Myles Hinton, the brother of Chris Hinton, who is a 2019 5-star commitment for Michigan. His little brother is an offensive lineman. I have gotten a good word that is pretty likely a fact, but keep an eye out for Alabama in this one. They could kind of scoop in and steal him. Some Alabama insiders think that he has a lot of focus on Hinton as their main offensive lineman target in 2020. The Michigan draw will be there for him with his brother going, but keep an eye out for Alabama coming in there, stealing Myles and stealing Chris. We'll see what develops, but I'm giving this one 3 Harbaugh heads. I really like what I see out of the Hinton brothers. They're rocking Michigan swag all over the place. Take a look at the 5-star sign at Michigan under Rashawn Gary. You'll see what you're getting. Under Jim Harbaugh. Rashawn Gary in 2016, All-American level player. Donovan Peoples-Jones and Aubrey Solomon were starters as true freshmen last year in 2017. Chris Hinton, Myles' brother, is coming into the 2019 class. Obviously, anybody in 2018. He's got a year of high school, and his brother, who will be a junior, is another 5-star. Big time if they get the Hinton brothers out of the state of Georgia, both to come to Michigan. 3 Harbaugh heads. All right, on to number 9 is a 3-star player ready to commit to Michigan, folks. We are giving this one a 2 Harbaugh heads, 3 Harbaugh. Just throw it up there. I don't even remember this one. 3 Harbaugh heads on this one. We've got a potential 2020 commitment that I want to give you guys a little bit of an insight into. So Braiden McGregor, he is a 3-star player, and he is potentially the next player for the 2020 class to commit for Michigan. I don't have a great read on how good, high of a prospect that he has, but 24/7 Sports has him listed as a 3-star player in the 2020 class, and there are rumors out there that he has visited Michigan recently, obviously from the picture, and he is the next prospect from that class to commit. Michigan just added their first 2 commitments for 2020 in the past several days. So Michigan, with all these players committed for the 2019 class, have really started to pile on for 2020. So keep an eye out for that player to commit to Michigan in the coming weeks potentially. All right, we've got another one. A 4-star offensive lineman, Andrew Raym, may commit to Michigan. Before we talk about him, though, I want to let you guys check out Game Time, and we'll be back in a moment.
Did you know that ticket prices can actually go down right before the game? That's where Game Time comes in. Game Time tracks ticket prices in real time from thousands of trusted sellers, then shows you all the best deals. So we can get tickets at the last minute for up to 60% off. Download Game Time now.
All right, welcome back. Thanks to Game Time for sponsoring. I am James Yoder, the king of Michigan football media and rumored to be a leading candidate to be Jim Harbaugh's next executive assistant. Want to give a shout out. If you like the show, if you like what we do, want to give a shout out to my boy. He goes by Maize and Blue Nation on Twitter. He is trying to get Miles Sims, who goes by Spider, to do one of these viral videos where the guy leans all the way down and leans back up kind of on his knees and goes down, that took over the internet. Miles says if he gets 200 retweets on this tweet right here, go follow the guy. Go Blue Season SCN, and then two lines after it. Follow him. It's pinned to the top of his account. He's got about 80-90 retweets and likes combined. If we can get him to 200, we'll get a viral Michigan football video from one of 2018's best incoming freshmen. So go give him a shout out right now on Twitter. There's his handle right there. Really appreciate his support and him always watching the Michigan Football Report from Chat Sports. All right, next up, ladies and gentlemen, another 2020 commitment may be trending towards Michigan. He is for sure visiting, though. 4 Harbaugh-heads, FACK on this one. Andrew Raym is a 4-star offensive lineman, and he is visiting in the month of July. Date to be determined, but he is one that Michigan desperately needs. Offensive line is a big-time need in the future. 2018 class did a decent job with a couple high-end players, and they're off to a good start for 2019. But 2020 is going to be a year where Michigan's desperately going to need 4 or 5 high-end offensive linemen. Really nice to see them getting Raym on campus. He's a very high-level player. Some have projected him to be a top 75 or top 50 player once he gets into his senior year. Still a year from now, though, before he's even a senior in high school. Just finished up his sophomore year. So Michigan's got 2 commits in the 2020 class. Now, keep an eye out for them to add 2, 3, 4 more throughout this summer as they're able to get more of these younger prospects onto campus. All right, rumor number 11. Did Mazi Smith, Michigan's latest big-time 4-star commitment, was he trending towards Notre Dame? Did he get won over by Greg Madison? I'm giving this one an FACK. Was told from a very strong source that knows him personally that he was trending towards Notre Dame for the past 4, 5, 6 months, but Greg Madison, Michigan's former defensive coordinator, current defensive line coach, really won him over and sold him on the Michigan football program. Big time shout out to Greg Madison for locking down one of the best 5 players in the state of Michigan for 2019 in the position of big time need for Michigan football in the future at the defensive line. So big shout out Greg Madison, one of the best recruiters in the game. Want to move on, though, to the next rumor going on here. All right, folks. Next up, we have rumor number 12. Do we have a 4-star commitment running back getting ready to commit to Michigan? Look, we're filming this on Saturday late afternoon. It's going to go live on Sunday. It's a little weekend thing, a little scheduling snafu, so we're not true live. So Gray is committing this weekend. I have told him a good source. I'm going to give it 2 Harbaugh heads that he's favoring Michigan, that he's coming to Michigan. I don't have a great source on this one. I can only go by what a few people I trust have told me that look for him to go with Michigan, but knowing he's going to commit in the next 36 hours, can only give it 2 Harbaugh heads. So if he does commit to somebody else, folks, don't blame me. I want all the credit and none of the blame when it comes to Eric Gray. So keep an eye out for this one. He said he's going to commit this weekend. We'll see what happens there. Want to tell you guys, remind you guys about the Chat Sports YouTube channel and the Michigan Football Report. It is the best way to get all of your Michigan football news from Chat Sports on YouTube. Go to chatsports.com/YouTube Michigan. It'll direct you right over to YouTube, and you can get all of the news you need for Michigan football from myself, from Lena Bond producing this show, and all the content done by Chat Sports throughout the 2018 offseason and 2018 football season that pertains to the Michigan Wolverines. All right, my name is James Yoder, the king of Michigan football media, rumored candidate to be Harbaugh's executive assistant. I want to thank you guys for continuing to watch. I love all the support, all the DMs, all the comments we get on our shows. really makes it fun to make the show every week for you guys with all the support that we've shown. Speaking of support, want to show some back. My main man from Blueprint, go ahead and give him a follow on Twitter. He was at the private spring practice. He's got amazing pictures on his Twitter account with Harbaugh, with Shea Patterson. He's talking to players a lot, so he's got a really good information. They've got a website. They've got a YouTube channel of their own. Go ahead and give him a follow on Twitter. It's BP_QUIS. They go by Blueprint. They're a really good group of guys. I want you to go ahead and follow him, follow his whole group. Really good information, great Twitter follow, becoming a guy I talk to a lot on Twitter. All right, on to rumor number 13. Is Karan Higdon Michigan's most underrated player in 2018? Two Harbaugh heads on this one. According to ESPN, he is. They listed their most underrated player for all the teams that they've got slated in the top 25 throughout 2018. Their kind of early predictions on that one. They said Higdon is so overshadowed on Michigan's team with Shea Patterson, the 6 or 7 guys on defense that are going to be NFL players in the future, that he doesn't get enough credit. And Michigan really has a great back on their hands. And they said he was their, the most underrated player. I don't know how underrated he is. I might lean more towards somebody like Tariq Black, who would come in and be an all Big Ten conference player. Higdon led Michigan in rushing last year, 6 yards shy of 1,000 yards. Davion Smith, the 2 years prior, coming back for his senior year. Him and Chris Evans are going to be a great combination, but people are talking he is underrated and could be a big-time player for Michigan in the future. All right, folks. Over-under. 1,250 yards for Karan Higdon. Do you think he's going to hit over it? Will he go under it? I want to know from you. Facebook Live, YouTube. Let me know in the comments, where will Karan Higdon be in 2018 when it comes to rushing yards, over 1,250 or under 1,250? Go ahead and comment. I'll jump in there myself, let you know what I think, and we'll see who was right at the end of the year. Rumor number 14. Is there a special playbook that only 2 quarterbacks are getting, folks? This is a 3 Harbaugh head. I've been hearing about this one for about a month. Finally have enough to go on it. Giving it 3 Harbaugh heads. I haven't seen the playbook myself, so I'm not going to go that far on a limb and give it an FACK, but Joe Milton, Shea Patterson are the guys with the super secret playbook, the one that's got quarterback runs, quarterback draws, all the RPOs, and the 4 and 5 wide sets, the ones that even have Chris Evans splitting out as a wide receiver. So this is big-time news. It means that Dylan McCaffrey and Brandon Peters aren't getting the ability to run the full new Michigan offense that Pep Hamilton, Jim Harbaugh, and Jim McElwain have instituted throughout the 2018 offseason after an abysmal 2017 offseason. So Shea Patterson, Joe Milton. What I think this means, ladies and gentlemen, is that the Michigan football coaches have just stamped of approval. Joe Milton is our guy after Shea Patterson leaves, whether it's after the 2018 season or after the 2019 season. So with that being said, I think that you may see Peters, McCaffrey, if one of those guys doesn't get some serious playing time in 18 or 19 season, that they're not going to finish their eligibility, at least one of them, before they'll end up playing somewhere else. Joe Milton may be the heir apparent to Shea Patterson once he leaves. All right, one more rumor for you folks. Is Michigan favored in 11 of the 12 games when it comes to the Vegas sports books? A lot of these lines are out there, but I made a special call to a friend in the industry. He gave me the breakdown for all Michigan's big time games. They may be underdogs, maybe favorites, and it is an FACK. Michigan is in favorite in every single game except for their last game. So according to the Vegas bookmakers, Michigan should start off the year 11-0, but they're an 8-point underdog to Ohio State. 8-point underdog to Ohio State in Columbus. That is a big-time line, no matter where they're playing, especially when the teams coming back are so strong in 2018, as obviously they were in 17, 16, and prior years to that. But Michigan is favored at Michigan State. They are favored at Notre Dame by 1, 2, 3 points, depending on which sportsbook you use. That is big-time news. Favored at home versus Penn State. Favored at home versus Wisconsin by 1, 2, 3 points as well. So they've got 4 games with it. There were favorites within 3 points, a field goal. You might see those lines bump up to 4 and 5 in those home games. Wisconsin, Penn State, should Michigan get off to a hot start. Ohio State, though, 8 points underdogs, ladies and gentlemen, when they go down to Columbus the last weekend, Thanksgiving weekend, that Saturday. And we'll see what happens there. Could be a little remake of 2016 or 2006 where it's a 1-2 or 2-3. My name is James Yoder, the king of Michigan football media. We'll have a press conference in the next 48 hours to address the big-time rumor of whether I'm taking the job to be Harbaugh's executive assistant, and I will see you then.